Welcome to the July 28th meeting of Hardin County Fiscal Court. I'd remind you, if you have cell phones, to please turn them off or put them into vibrate mode. We'll begin with a roll call, if you would, Ms. Donnelly.
Easter.
Here.
Doug Goodman.
Here.
Boone.
Here.
Clem.
Here.
Wiseman.
Here.
Thompson. Ronnie Goodman.
Here.
King.
Here.
Judge Barry.
Here. Mr. Easter will lead us in the invocation, and Mr. Wiseman in the pledge. If you'll please stand.
Heavenly Father, we're so thankful for your love and your grace. We thank you for the blessings of life. Thank you for the opportunity we have to come together and to discuss the business of this community. We just pray that wherever we go on, we do what's best and that we're found faithful at the end of the day to those that we represent and serve. I ask that you be with us now, and for all these things, we give you all the praise and glory. In the name of Jesus Christ, I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Would you please join me in the pledge? I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll start with department and elected office reports. First up is EMS, Mr. Mark Peterson.
Average monthly collection comparison, fiscal year 2018-2019, we averaged $403,748 a month. 2019-2020, we averaged $390,541 a month. 2018-2019 billable versus non-billable runs. 2018-19, we made 16,994 total runs. Of those, 13,767 were billable runs, and 3,227 were non-billable runs. Fiscal year 19-20, we made 15,987 total runs. That's down 1,007 runs from 18-19. We made 12,671 billable runs, which is down 1,096 runs from 18-19. And then our non-billable runs were at 3,316. Mileage comparison, 18-19, we traveled 466,176 miles. Not much change in 2019, 466,183 miles traveled. Summary, total miles for 19-20, 466,183. Total runs, 15,987. Non-billable runs, 3,316. Total billable runs, 12,671. Total collected, $4,686,498.88. Other items would be $10,000. That's from the Kentucky Board of EMS grant. And total expenditures was $5,561,156.03, with a deficit of $864,657.15. The 5-year historical budget review again shows us with a little wider margin than we had in 18-19. We went from 51,646 to 864,657. Any questions?
Comments from Mark? Appreciate a good job. Thanks.
Thank you.
Next, we'll hear from E911, Mr. Mike Leo.
Take that mask off. Good afternoon, Judge Barry, members of Fiscal Court. I'm here to present the June statistics for the 911 Center and then also some 5-year comparisons. 911 calls answered, 5,089. 7,808 cab reports are created. Answered 2,949 administrative calls. Dispatched 1,273 EMS runs. Dispatched 310 fire runs. Handled 1,036 attempt to serve, prisoner transport, and traffic stop type calls. And 11,547 link and NCIC transactions. This page just shows a breakdown of calls for service by agency. Obviously EMS Always seems to be the most requested service at 62.2%, followed by Sheriff's Office at 19.2%. Next slide. Fire runs by department, E-Town with 33.5%, Radcliffe with 21.3%, and you can see the other agencies surrounding that. Calls transferred to our secondary law sites. Total calls transferred is 1,410. 465 to Radcliffe Police, 646 to E-Town Police, and 299 to the Kentucky State Police. This graph just shows a 5-year comparison of the CAD reports created. You can see that we've declined over the course of the last 5 years. Next slide. Total 911 calls received, a 5-year comparison from 16 to 2020. Also shows a little decline there. 911 wireless calls received, 5-year comparison from 2016 to 2020. Also showing a little bit of decline. Still a big number. Administrative calls received, 5-year comparison from 2016 to 2020. Also showing a little bit of a decline there. Self-initiated events, this is your traffic stops, your prison transports, temp to serves, 5-year comparison from 2016-2020. Also showing a decrease there. I think a lot of the 2020 numbers is more related to the COVID stuff going on. People aren't needing us as much. We're not out serving, out in the public as much. NCIC transactions, 5-year comparison, 2016-2020. Additionally, also a decline in those numbers. And that'll be it for me. You got any questions?
Questions for Mike? Thanks, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, now we'll have the Hardin County Detention Center report. Jailer Josh Lindblom.
Doing well. How we doing?
Where you been?
I've been right here. It's still pretty busy at the jail. With everything going on and stuff, it's still a 24-hour-a-day business, and it's people just don't slow down. There's still crime, so the staff is there 24 hours a day to make sure everything's running well. But if you look at lodging incomes down a little bit, we're not getting any state prisoners right now, and they're not transferring in around the state, so it's just going to happen. But if you look at the county population, it's gone down a whole lot.
Yes.
So that's been a big thing, working with the sheriff's office, working with the county attorney's office. It's all worked out pretty well. Everything's keeping a lot cleaner, and everything's keeping pretty safe down there. So we've been pretty blessed so far. If you look at the charges, operating the influence has gone up a good bit, and assault 4th degree keeps going up. So people need to really watch that stuff. I mean, being cooped in the house, I bet that has a big issue with that. Violation of EPO is actually down. Non-payment of fines is up, but the one thing about it is right now they're not really wanting to lock up as much people for that. They just want to collect the money. So that's been, I believe the collections are up for that. So cold checks are down. Mrs. Oldham's office worked pretty hard on that. Shoplifting is down. Felony charges, a couple of them going up. Burglary 1st, 2nd, 3rd going up. Robbery gone down to 0, so that's great. That's a great move. Assault 1st, 2nd, 3rd. 4. Possession of controlled substance 62. Looks like people have a little bit too much time in their hands. So, flagrant non-support's down, and traveling legal sentences is hanging right in there. As you know, we had a pretty rough time there for a while with everybody locked up in the work programs. So they couldn't get out and actually get out and work, and do a lot of projects around the county. Of course, that started back up. We got the go-ahead from the state to get mowing crews out and litter abatement crews back out. So they've been out there working like a machine. So we actually picked up a couple more properties around the county because there's a lot of places that aren't able to get their grass mowed because of the COVID and stuff like that. So we've been stepping up, doing a lot more work. Even though I enjoy going out and getting on a lawnmower and mowing some of these properties and stuff, we've passed it back off to the men, and they're doing a good job and enjoying it. The hours of work are down, but you know, when you look at it, 6,929, that's still sheriff staffing, and also the that 908,072, that's or 9,872, that is in the kitchen, and that is working in the jail cleaning. That is working on the litter abatement crews and the mowing crews across the county. We're still not able to send anybody out per the state to the different agencies we have been staffing for years. Maybe that'll change eventually, but right now it doesn't look like there's much of a leeway on that with, you know, people that went out to Helping Hand, people that went out to Elizabethtown Police Department, just the different agencies across the county that actually had the extra help, needed the extra help. Outside appointments are down 31, emergency room visits down 2. Nurse visits are down by about half, with the population in the jail right now being right at 601 this morning. We have about 215 less prisoners than we normally do. So that's really helping out with these numbers. Medical requests are down. Usually we're hitting about 450 a month. This month it was only 146. We had 2 folks in the hospital. One was actually had a baby, so that was something, you know, it took a couple of days. Inmates on medications is 261. Normally we average about 370 to 375, so that's a big push right there. That's a lot less money that we're spending lately. If you look at the road trash, it's been picked up a lot, and I think we've hit every corner of the county that month, and they're still right now they're just like a machine. They're just happy to be out. They're happy to be out and about. Of course, looks pretty wild, you know, walking around with the masks and the gloves and everything. Of course, they always wear gloves, but now the masks and stuff, it's just people drive by, look at them funny, but they're just happy to get out and about in the sun. Got 173 miles in the month of June. That's a big push for the road crews, and like I said, they take that very seriously. And it was one of those things where the county was pretty dirty. People were just kind of just driving by and just throwing stuff around, and it looked pretty bad. So they were really happy to get back out there, and they say maybe the next week and a half they might get turned around a little bit. But they're pretty excited. So, we're coming off one of the best fiscal years we've had. It's been a good year. I appreciate y'all's assistance and everything, and all the agencies, the EMS, Sheriff's Office. We've all worked real hard together, and of course 911 Center and emergency managers as well. But we all worked real hard together and stuff doing things this year. It was great whenever we could sit down and get a lot of things accomplished. There's not a day goes by I don't talk to Jenny Oldham because you know, about different matters and stuff in the jail and stuff. You know, but I always like to check on things before we just act on things. So it's good to have that line of communication. And of course, you know, the executive's office and everything, everybody's been working real well, and we've done a pretty good job. So, any questions on anything?
We appreciate the great job.
Well, it's good to see y'all.
Come back.
All right, next we'll hear from Hardin County Planning and Development, Mr. Adam King.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
All right, I've got the May and June 2020 report from the Planning Commission. Start off with an item here that went before the Planning Commission. So it was a zone change request. It's only our second zone change request on Patriot Parkway. So this one is at the J-turn there at the intersection of Deckard School Road, Patriot Parkway, and then that cul-de-sac there, that's formerly Deckard School Road. That's now called Tribute Court. This was a 3.79 acre site. Mr. Glenn Bieber proposed and was granted a zone change from urban residential R1 to the convenience commercial C1 zone. And this is proposed to be a storage shed display lot. Next, a few items that went before the Board of Adjustment. Again, with COVID, we had about a 2-month backlog of items waiting to have public hearings. So we are finally getting caught back up, and things are going back to normal for the summer. But this was a request for what we call a permanent accessory dwelling. So essentially it was a mother-in-law suite, if you will, behind that main house. It was approximately 800 square foot. This was approved. This is near the corner of Burns Road and Thompson Road in Ronnieville. Another item that went before the board. So this was Brock's Auto Repair. This is down near Four Corners in Eastview or White Mills, whatever you'd call it. There on Litchfield Road, US 62. This is formerly the site of Papaw Bev's Gun and Pawn Shop. So it had sat vacant for quite some time, and Mr. Brock there has opened up an automotive repair business, and he was approved by the board to do that with a conditional use permit. Lastly here, conditional use permit, temporary accessory dwelling. This is Gilbert Lane. It's actually a private gravel road off Kentucky 84. This was granted a conditional use permit for a temporary accessory dwelling. Those are granted for caregiver, caretaker, family type situations. This was granted 7 years by the board. And then lastly, this is a variance. We're in Sycamore Bend subdivision, Deerfield Court. This is up off Woolridge Ferry Road. And this gentleman got a variance to build a detached garage there. The photo in the top left, you'll see there quite a bit of topography. The property falls off to the rear. So he needed to be a little bit too close to the cul-de-sac. Looking at the various land use applications, so although COVID and the building was closed, we stayed busy online and over the phone. So we've done 18 conditional use permits through the end of June, 12 variances, 3 zone changes, 9 development plans for non-residential projects, and then also investigated 11 violations of the zoning ordinance. Looking at subdivision plats, thus far we've recorded 44 subdivision plats. That's slightly down from 2019 when we were at 50 for this time. Looking at the number of lots recorded on those plats, for 2020 through the end of June, we were at 57 new lots. That's up from 52 in 2019. Single-family dwelling has remained strong. So 9 permits in May, 8 in June. We are at 64 new single-family dwellings for the year. Still the hot spot or the most popular subdivision has been Rosie Tulip. That's off Gaither Station Road, just south of the Parkway, across from the E-Town wastewater treatment plant. We've done 8 houses in there. There's only 14 lots in the first section, so they've almost filled it up this year. And then the other map there, just trying to illustrate still that area just south of Elizabethtown, north of Glendale. That's kind of still remained the hot area there. We've got a lot of subdivisions from the mid to late 2000s that we're just now filling up. Looking at permits, 224 building permits thus far, 500 electrical permits, and then also I wanted to point out 10 stop works. So there's still a misnomer or misinformation that, oh, I'm out in the county, I don't need a permit. So you need a permit. Come in and see us. If you've got over 5 acres, you qualify for agriculturally exempt. There's no charge. It's just paperwork. And again, if you're building something less than 200 square feet, no charge. It's just paperwork. So call and ask or come see us. I'd encourage the public to do that. Inspections, 668 final inspections. That's building and electrical. 145 footer so far this year, 235 roughs. So again, building permits have remained strong. Lastly, just some informational items for you guys. Doing lots of Zoom meetings. So we're doing our continuing education over Zoom, the state planning chapter meeting over Zoom. I participate with the West Point Trail Committee. We're doing that over Zoom. And then lastly, my planner, Chris Butts, he celebrated 1 year with the Planning Commission in May, and then he also graduated with his Master's of Urban Planning from U of L. So I wanted to say congrats to him. That's all I've got. I'm happy to answer any questions you all might have.
Anyone have any comments or questions for Adam? Thanks, appreciate the good report.
Thank you all.
All right, we'll move on to item 3, is ordinances, agreements, and resolutions. We have one item today. It's a resolution number 2020-110. It's relating to the bid for the remount of 2 of our ambulance boxes. As you all realize, we've been doing this for quite some time now of putting our old boxes or current boxes on new chassis. The bid that's recommended is from Southeastern Specialty Vehicles. It's to remount 2 of them at $139,997 per unit, so that would be times 2. This is something that went before the Emergency Services Committee. The chairman is Mr. Easter. If you have anything you'd like to add?
No, Judge, we've gone through this company before, and they've done an exceptional job, and the money that we're bidding out is within their budget, their line item, so it's not any additional cost. I make a motion that we accept.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Easter, second by Mr. Wiseman. Any discussion? Hearing none, Ms. Donnelly.
Doug Goodman,
Yes.
Boone. Clem.
Yes.
Wiseman,
Yes.
Ronnie Goodman,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Judge Barry,
Yes?
Yes.
Easter.
All right, that brings us to Magistrates Comments. We'll start today with Mr. Clem.
On the consent agenda?
Consent agenda.
That's twice in a row I've missed
Twice
that.
in a row? You get twice in a row?
I'm going to start having you call it up. Well, how about if we come back since I started with you?
Okay. Well, I just want to encourage folks to social distance and to wear your mask when it's appropriate, and remind folks not to drink and drive, as Josh brought up, and remind folks not to text and drive. That's all, Judge.
Ms. Boone? Mr. Doug Goodman? Mr. Easter, anything else? Mr. King?
I have one.
Okay, Mr. Ronnie Goodman?
I have nothing, sir.
Mr. Wiseman?
Keep it going, I have nothing, Judge.
That was fast. They were just trying to get to Mr. Clem's consent agenda. All right, the consent agenda was included in your packet. Is there any corrections that need to be made?
Move to approve.
Motion by Mr. Doug Goodman, second by Ms. Boone. Any discussion? Hearing none, Ms. Donnelly.
Boone. Clem.
Yes.
Wiseman,
Yes.
Ronnie Goodman,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Judge Barry,
Yes.
Easter,
Yes.
Doug Goodman.
Yes.
Ms. Oldham, anything from your office?
No, thank you.
Ms. Donnelly?
No, sir.
All quiet.
All quiet.
All right. The next meeting of Hardin County Fiscal Court will be on Tuesday, August 11th at 3:30 in the afternoon here in the courtroom. Is there anything else that needs to come before us before we adjourn? If not, a motion would be in order for us to adjourn.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Clem, second by Mr. King. Hearing no objection, we stand adjourned.
Great.